So it's interesting. Now with this page experience update, you're going to have to go back to them and tell them to do their job the right way. Because that's what this is about, making sites fast, make sure this thing's not jumping all around, all the type of stuff around the page experience update. So it's kind of like related to what you've been telling them to do, but now it's more about you telling them to do their job versus before it was like SEO, title tags are like metadata. Who cares about that stuff? It's not really like the user sees it, but this is now SEO. The SEO these days is more about what the users are seeing. So can you talk a little about how you would take that strategy and say, developers, designers, this is what you need to do, because not only Google's saying you should do this, but you should have been doing this for years. And then maybe talk a little about your concerns or your thoughts on the whole update.
So this kind of goes back to the same thing with like educating everyone, right? And what I always tell everyone, designers, copywriters, developers, that everyone is a part of SEO. It's not just like, oh, the SEO person is part of the SEO. Everyone plays a part in SEO. And if you can get the company as a whole to understand that everyone is playing a part in it, I think it's easier to get everyone to do their job. So when I say to my designer, we just did a redesign for the company that I work for, and the designer, he knew a lot about SEO, so it was very easy to work with him. So how do I get them to understand? I think, again, it just all comes back to educating them along the way. So it's not like you can't just explain it to them right away, right? So like, for example, when the core web vitals hit Google Search Console, they're like, oh, we're adding this. It's not a ranking factor. I've been doing this for so long that I can tell you it probably kind of is right now. You know what I mean? Like okay, yeah, I'm not confirming that it is.
A lot of them are, like HTTPS, mobile friendly.
Exactly. Right. So I said to them when that hit, I said, okay, guys, look, Google is telling us like to pay attention to this. So, you'll see that some of this stuff isn't a ranking factor, but we need to pay attention to it. And I'm gonna tell you it probably is a ranking factor. Same thing that happened with mobile. Before mobile first hit, I mean, I saw it in my data that, maybe we didn't switch to mobile first yet, but I could see signs that our mobile website was suffering. And we had two separate sites. We had a desktop version and a mobile version. We had and it just destroyed us. And we just moved over to responsive, and I'm really hoping for some amazing results. But point being is that, I think just getting them to understand the big picture along the way is a lot more helpful than just trying to tell them like, okay, Google just announced this, like now we need to do this, It's kind of like something you do on a daily basis.
Right, you should have been doing that beforehand. You should have been making your site forms and credit card forms, HTTPS, and making sure they're secure.
Exactly.
Most internet now is mobile. You should have been doing that before Google told us to do that.
Exactly.
So all you developers, you're doing it wrong. You should do it right the first way. This way, when Google makes it a ranking factor, it's already done.
True. Exactly.
We wouldn't need any SEOs otherwise.
Exactly.
Just do your jobs right. I mean, seriously.
Exactly.
All right, now let's get into a topic that probably you're both pretty excited. I mean, anybody who's been in SEO for 20 years just loves talking about Google algorithm updates. Mm-hmm. And one of the topics you want to talk about is the difference between unconfirmed and confirmed Google algorithm updates. So I'm really interested in hearing what you have to say about that.
Yeah, so things have changed so much in the last 2 years. It's been quite a ride, at least from my end. I mean, everybody will say that though, right? So I think...
In what way? I mean...
The updates are more frequent, like just the data is changing like daily,
used to be that 30-day cycle.
You used to be able to breathe. Right. I mean, literally, I pulled data for someone last week telling them like, oh, I'm going to pull you guys some data and show you, we went up a lot and, for these particular keywords. By the time I got around to pulling the data, everything changed and they fell for all these keywords. And I jumped on a call and I'm like, yeah, guys, I'm really sorry. I know I had said we went up on all of these keywords, but yeah, no, things have changed. So things are changing so fast. And so what I've seen with unconfirmed updates versus confirmed updates is that it looks like for, position, like on the first page, positions 1 through 10, like high up in the SERPs, whatever, that's where these confirmed updates are really hitting, right? Whereas I feel like the unconfirmed updates are kind of all across the board.
Right.
And I see it, and it's like the data tells a story, and it's kind of hard to kind of go against, like I think John was talking something, or I think you posted something about the other day on Twitter or last week about can you recover from, I was going to comment on that too, and you were saying like, oh, can you recover, do you have to wait to the next core update to recover? And I think that you can recover, but I don't think you fully recover, right? So again, I just think, yes, there's a lot of hype around these, confirmed updates. But at the end of the day, I think they're both pretty affect companies, not pretty much the same, but as far as how much they affect them, it could be equal, I guess is what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense. Meaning like you're affected maybe across the board and it doesn't look that bad. But we were hit with an update back in August, one of the unconfirmed updates. I think it was around, the 16th or 17th.
You always see these people complaining on the forums about their rankings going down. Rarely do you see anybody saying my rankings went up, obviously.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. What's big for one site can be nothing for another site. And it's always like, I get emails all the time. Do you see an update? I'm like, I don't see many people complaining about it.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, once I see a certain threshold of people complaining about it, I'll write about it. And usually the tools also show a pattern, the tracking tools. But even like when Penguin was released, Google said it was like, I don't know, like 3% affected search results, where Panda was released was like 12%. But I felt like Penguin affected the SEO community so much more because SEOs did a lot of link.
True. Yeah.
So it's all about what you're doing, what niche you're in, what that change actually affected.
Yeah.
And it does make a difference. Like confirmed versus unconfirmed, most of the confirmed ones are relatively bigger and more people notice, but does it have as much as an impact in an individual site?
Yeah.
Depends. It always depends, like you said.
Yeah, one of the companies that I'm working with, they do a lot of things around supplements, right? And right after COVID, actually it was before the update that I noticed this. I started to see things fall off, like, rankings went down for vitamin C, vitamin D, where we were ranking so well around those terms, right? And Google, I think, was trying to protect everyone. I know there was an incident with one of the medications, I forgot the name of it, that's in like fish food.
Okay.
And I think like there was a couple that ate the fish food to try to, I guess, prevent COVID or whatever. Right. And I think, unfortunately, they passed away.
Right.
And I think, things like that, they're just trying to protect people from taking too much vitamin C or too much vitamin D. And like companies like us, like we get hurt for that. You know what I mean? And we have a lot of citations on our website to, really reputable sources.
The EAT stuff, right?
Yeah, like we do a lot of
I was just on a call with Googlers around that topic, and they did. I wrote about this a while ago, and then they confirmed, the head of search confirmed that for those categories of websites, especially COVID, medical, stuff like that, they really push, is this site, meeting the mark for EAT? Yeah. And how they do that is, they don't really discuss it, but you're talking about citations and stuff like that, and you do whatever you can, I assume, to like, like, hey, we are trustworthy through your site. What other techniques do you use for that? Yeah,
so for our website, we've tried to combine a lot of content to strengthen our content. When I first started with this company, they were talking about the same topic, like on many different pages. So we tried to bring everything together. The person who owns the company is a physician, he has an MD, so he is a doctor, you know what I mean? All of our writers have, degrees, and we make sure that everybody that we hire, there's certain things that we run checks on and whatnot. So it's still new, what happened was while that was going on, I was trying to launch this new website. So I wasn't really too focused on, trying to fix the problem. Thankfully, we got a ton of organic traffic on that website. And it's pretty amazing. We don't do any paid advertising, and we pull in most of our revenue through email and organic. So I haven't done much yet, to be honest with you.
Right, so my last question for you, I think, is you've been around for 20 plus years. You've been through Florida and all the updates. I want you to rank the top 3 Google algorithm updates in terms of the most devastating for SEOs in general. You can start with 3 and then 2 and then 1, just to put you on the spot.
I want to say, what comes to the top, like just the top of my head, I would say Penguin.
That's 3?
Oh no, I'm
1? Okay. So 1 is Penguin.
Penguin, Hummingbird, and Medic.
Interesting. I guess because you're in the.
Well, yeah.
You guys.
Yeah.
Why Hummingbird? I'm just asking.
I think at the time for me, it was important in the industry that I was in.
Okay.
And
that's fair.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So if people want to learn more about you, follow you, hire you, whatever, how can they do that?
Yeah. So you can follow me, connect with me on LinkedIn, Dawn Beobide, or you can follow me on Twitter, SEO Chick with no K, 09. So SEO Chick 09.
Cool. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you, Barry. I appreciate it.
You see, it's super windy. Hopefully it came out okay. Super smart woman, been in the SEO industry forever, loves algorithms, loves Google SEO topics, and lives here. Beautiful area. There's some drone footage. Hopefully the thing doesn't sink. Let me know what you think.